Sorry, folks. I'm having a brain fart here right now. All right, welcome back, everybody. Here to do another episode of our CW recap. With me, I have James. How's it going, James?
Holy crimson skies of death!
That's right. And of course, I'm Mike, and we're going to talk about CW's DC crossover time, and this time it's Crisis on Infinite Earths. It has begun. I hope we're all excited. So we had the first 3 episodes of Crisis. I can't believe we're like 60% done already.
That's correct.
Yeah. The next 2 will be coming after the new year. And to start it off, we started with, well, do you want to give a quick overview of what Crisis is about? Like 2-3 minutes?
Yeah, sure. So, actually, we've been building up to this moment with each of the individual shows, mostly Arrow and Flash, not so much Supergirl, actually. And at the end of the previous week's episodes, we've gotten a little teaser showing us Harrison Wells' character and this tomb and cave and symbols and his connection to the potential crisis. So obviously, with part 1 being in Supergirl, we don't waste any time at all. They show us the crisis evaporating and turning to Thanos-like dust each of these different Earths. And I mean, the action really gets into it. We don't find out until about maybe a couple minutes in when the Monitor has basically corral all of the main characters for this crisis, where he explains to you something like how in Guardians of the Galaxy it explained to you the Infinity Stones. Since the beginning of time, there were multiverse of universes, and mankind came to rely on its champions to keep the chaos at bay. But now it's a threat we've never seen before. And they don't really explain much of, we know it to be the Anti-Monitor, of course, but much of the Anti-Monitor beyond the fact that he's just relentless on this crisis and obliterating the multiverses. And the Monitor's goal is to stop that from happening with recruiting our heroes. So it seems like we get very little information on why this crisis is occurring, other than the fact that it's just predestined. And what will be the ultimate outcome until probably episode 3, when we realize that he's going to replace the multiverse with his version of a singular universe. So that's really, the crisis in a nutshell, as to summarize it.
Yeah, and it's up to our heroes to try and stop it, right?
Correct.
So with that took us into the beginning of the crossover with Supergirl, Crisis Part 1.
Yep.
So in that episode, we see that Lila has become Harbinger. The anti-monitors, or is it the monitors or the anti-monitors? Like
the anti-monitor. Yeah, anti-monitor.
Yeah. And so Harbinger
goes
around gathering.
The Harbinger is on Team Monitor, at least in the beginning.
Right, okay, yeah. That's what I thought, yeah, because Monitor sends Harbinger to gather all our heroes and let them know that everything's beginning, right?
Correct. And Wells's character, the Pariah, is on Team Anti-Monitor.
Mm-hmm. Right, but he's being forced to. It's not like he chose to.
So that teaser, it brings you back full circle. The teaser ending clip from each of the previous week where he's opening that thing, really he's opening the vault for the Anti-Monitor. So he's the cause of the crisis when we really want to sit down and do the math. His actions led to, whether it's predestined or not, led to the entire crisis.
So we've got, Harbinger is gathering everybody. Then meanwhile, the antimatter wave is destroying the multiverse, one universe at a time.
This is the fun part. I love this part, Mike. Yeah. The cameos and the Earths that are being destroyed.
Yep. So in the beginning of our show, we've got all the cameos of our different characters because their universes are being destroyed. We had the 60s Robin, Burt Ward himself.
He seemed to age somewhat fair.
Yeah. It's, what you expect for, I don't know, what is he, like 100 now?
Yeah, he's up there. He's up there.
He was looking good for 100 if he's 100. But
yeah.
Let's yeah. So his universe gets destroyed. Then we cut over to Earth, what they call Earth 99, which would be the Michael Keaton, the Tim Burton Batman
Earth
universe,
89. Earth
and we have
89.
our old friend, our old friend Alexander Knox, the reporter from that
Mm-hmm.
movie, uh, hoping that somebody will save the day
You saw the
before he gets
headline of the
destroyed.
article that he was reading: Batman captures Joker.
Yeah, yeah. So then we cut over to Earth X, and we've got the Ray, and he's flying and seeing that the wave is coming and destroys their
Mm-hmm.
universe. And finally, we cut over to the DC streaming
That
universe,
that
Titans.
was a game changer for me. When I saw that, I
Yes.
was like, "Holy shit!"
Hmm.
They're basically telling you, the entire DC platform is connected to this one
Yep.
CW series.
Yeah, yeah, that was fantastic for me too. That was jaw dropping, and when you see Hawk and Jason Todd there in disbelief that what's happening to their world,
Mm-hmm.
right? Yeah. So then we come back to Earth 38, and the wave is also coming, and they're trying to figure out how to stop it. We've got Supergirl and Alex and Brainiac. The whole team is there trying to figure out what to do. And I think, if I remember right, Harbinger brings some of our other heroes to them to explain what's
Mm-hmm.
happening and how they can stop
Yeah,
it,
but
right?
before that, you forget that Argo City, where Lois Lane and our Clark Kent of this.
Oh, yes,
Yeah.
that's
Right before
right.
the moment of the
Yeah,
recruitment, they get hit. So this
yeah.
is the first time we know the crisis is affecting, I guess, the main Supergirl universe.
Mm-hmm.
And Argo City somehow it seems to be in the path of the Crimson, whatever you want to call it, wave, dark matter, antimatter,
Yeah,
and they
right.
basically reenact the scene of Kal-El's departure from Krypton right before it gets destroyed to Earth. But this time, the twist is Clark Kent Kal-El is doing that to his son with Lois Lane as the mother, and they're putting him in this one single ship. By the way, why is it
Yeah.
that? And I think Kevin Smith said this too, and it's after the show Crisis. How is it that there's always one ship to evacuate, a critical member of a Kryptonian noble family? Meanwhile, the rest of the citizens just get killed every single time. They got killed in original Krypton.
Yeah,
Now they're getting killed in Argo City. Like, what the hell's going on with the aviation industry and the Kryptonians?
and it's not that it's just one ship. It's one ship with one seat that happens to be a baby seat.
A baby seat.
Yeah, it's got like a baby carrier in it. What's up with that? Like they always think, well, our planet could be destroyed at any time. We might as well have one ready. We can send a baby somewhere, and the rest of us will just die.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
obviously Supergirl sees the explosion through her monitors, and she's stricken because she knows her mom, not just her cousin, but her mom is also there. And that means her mom's
Right.
deaf as well.
But Harbinger happened to grab Lois and Clark just in time, bring them back to Earth before it got destroyed. But at that point, so they've sent Jonathan, little baby Jonathan. So he's supposed to go to Earth, but he wound up in a different universe and a different time,
That is true. That is
right?
true.
Yep. So where did he wind up? He wound up on, I forget which Earth it is, but it's with another
Mm-hmm.
Arrow. Still the same guy, but he's older. Oh, it was in the future, 2049, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he's older and he's,
2049. Older, grizzled
yeah,
Arrow
angry.
who did not experience what our main Arrow had to go through.
Yeah.
Man, these timelines now are getting MCU level of
Yeah,
ridiculousness.
I know. But luckily, he found little baby Jonathan and kept him safe. So when they showed up, they were able to talk to him and retrieve the baby. So, uh,
Yeah. So, but let's get into the actual recruitment. Their version of the Avengers
hmm
circle pan when all the heroes are there and they're
uh,
all looking at each other. I think the funniest one was seeing Batwoman, who was finally removed from her show and get a chance to to spread her bat wings.
Yeah.
A different cast, different writers, and you get to see that she falls into character. She's already skeptical. She's already like trying to punch Lila, or Harbinger, as she's known now.
Right.
Um, so I like that, the fact that you get to see her now outside of her element, but
Hmm.
sticking true to her character as Batwoman and Kate. She takes her mask off. She takes her mask off when she realizes the Harbinger knows everyone's actual identity. So she's like, "Oh, I guess no need for me to wear this mask."
Yeah, and I love when Ray Parker he goes, Bruce Wayne is the Dark Knight, and she was like, "Yeah, can we just keep that to ourselves, please?"
Like, I didn't know that.
Hmm. Was it wait? Was it Ray or was it? Yeah, it was Ray, right? Wasn't it?
Yeah, it was Ray. It was Ray.
Yeah.
It was Ray. It
Hmm.
was Ray.
Yeah. So that was cool. And then, so they from there.
One thing I forgot to bring up when you were talking about, because some of this stuff is happening simultaneously. The Future Oliver, 2049,
Yeah.
with Sarah. Sarah has by far, by the way, became one of my top three favorite characters in all the Arrowverse.
Yeah.
So she approaches the future Arrow after like the Ted fight moment. She realizes that he's been through tremendous tragedy, but he never redeemed himself like the Arrow in our modern universes. So she tells him something like, you've always been a good Arrow no matter what universe that you're in. And I'm like, I remember Earth X, and he was like a Nazi. So I'm not sure about that one, but it was nice to see
Not just a Nazi,
the
the
head of the
head of the
Nazis.
Nazis.
So with that one exception, I got what she was saying, and it was good to see the emotion. And man, Stephen Amell, he's been awesome.
Yeah.
See
Oh,
the
I know. He
emotion in
had
his face.
so
Go ahead.
yeah. That Arrow had a lot of regrets, and one of them was that what happened to Sarah. Right? He felt really like you could tell through time that was something he carried with him. Right? And so it was good for her to finally say, "Look, because of what happened, this is who I am." And I don't regret any of it. So you don't burden yourself with that, right?
Yeah,
Yeah. So I think that was a good resolution there.
it was. It was. So let's. Yeah, we still haven't gotten to some of the meat and potatoes of this particular episode where it pertains to Supergirl.
Yeah. So they're trying to stop the Wade from coming. The tower. Oh yes, the tower
Yes,
comes up.
yes. They're trying to evacuate, billions of people on all of these
Yeah.
transporter ships while they have the towers like reflecting or holding back the antimatter, and they of
Hmm.
course need to recruit Lena Luthor.
Yeah. So meanwhile, while they're doing that, John is gathering. He's using Brainiac's ship to load people, right?
Yep.
Yeah, so everybody's got their little side mission. So we'll come back to John. But yeah, so Lena and Alex are trying to fight the wave. Some of that got a little weird for me when all of a sudden Alex became like this scientist. Did you notice that? Like she was like, try this, blah 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 blah.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it happens. It
Uh,
happens. It seems like there was a lot to unpack in this episode. Like we didn't even get to like the shadow
yeah.
demons and how is it that they're able to shoot arrows and bullets at these things, looking like the Dementors from Harry Potter. But that
Right.
taking that aside, yeah, everyone had like what seemed to be like a very important task, but it was just too much happening in like 45 minutes of a show.
I know. That's the bad thing. They should have. It would have been nice if each one was like a 2 hour episode, you know?
Yeah. Like the whole tower
But
science didn't make any sense. And then the fact that you had
yeah,
Superman and Supergirl had to power it using their heat vision, and
right.
Superman was the first to fall because he hasn't been on Earth for a while. He hasn't absorbed the nutrients and electrolytes from the sun's solar radiation. Meanwhile, Supergirl was just going at it.
Yeah.
But we get to the moment of this episode that we were promised something and then it delivered 10 times over. We got a sacrifice. Who
Hmm.
would you say? Is it Alex? Because again, this was a Supergirl episode. No. Is it Brainiac? No. Was it Dreamer? Nope. Not even Supergirl herself. It's the Tony
Uh-huh.
Stark of the Arrowverse, Oliver Queen. And what I think
Yeah.
ultimately was a ridiculous, ridiculous moment, because I get the fact that they're trying to do a lot of things here. They're trying to show how serious this crisis is. They're also trying to show that Oliver, being the lead and the most important character of this Arrowverse, needed to make what was, we can discuss or not, is a final
Hmm.
stand to get as many people as possible safely evacuated. But again, it all
Yeah.
goes back to the fact that he's fighting these shadow demons with nothing but a bow and arrow, and everyone's
Right.
being evacuated from the Monitor. He somehow incapacitates the Monitor for a brief moment with, I don't know what kind of power arrow that he created for this moment only, because he never was able to do that in any of the previous episodes when he's fighting the Monitor. And he
Yeah.
makes the ultimate sacrifice. He takes himself off the
Yeah.
chessboard to give them extra time to save another 1 billion humans and aliens out of like the 8 billion humans and aliens that are on the planet.
Yeah.
So the Monarch was able to catch him at the last moment to give him a chance to say goodbye to the entire crew on the Wave Rider. By the way, speaking of the Wave
Hmm.
Rider, I thought it was hilarious how
Yes.
they erased Janis Joplin from the timeline at
I
the bar
know.
trivia night. And
Yes.
then when they arrived, she was like, Sarah was like, yeah, I promised them no more crossovers.
You're right. Yeah.
A
There was
throwaway
a
line
there
that
was
is so meta.
they had a couple of those fourth wall breaks with the crossover thing. I think not in this episode, but when we get to, I think, Batwoman and was it oh yeah, when we get to Batwoman I'll talk about it. Or was it Flash where Frost mentioned somebody not, oh, it's his first crossover. But anyway, we'll get to that when we get to Flash.
Yeah.
But
So,
there's been a
I mean,
couple of those. Yeah.
Oliver's death is the part that, really, it puts
Yes.
this episode in a different tier.
Right.
And like I said earlier, whether you argue the science and the realism of what was happening, doesn't matter. The fact that the
Mm.
character who started this entire show takes a final bow and a sacrificial moment, and the group around him. It reminded me a little bit of Optimus Prime when he died, and like the group of the Autobots kind of standing around him.
Yeah. When they had
It was like on the
the,
gurney.
the matrix of leadership. Yep.
Yeah,
Yeah.
except for
You
there was no
so.
Matrix passed on. Although he did say he did talk to Barry and said,
Mhm.
"You're the." Yeah, he did. He was like, "Barry, you're the one that's gonna have to lead the group
Yeah.
now."
Light our
That was nice.
darkest hour.
Yeah, but we know what happened to Rodimus Prime. Didn't go so well.
Yeah. Ultra Magnus wasn't the one.
Mm.
But overall, I thought that scene was done very well. It was very emotional. Yeah, again, props to Steve Amell on that.
Part two.
And that led us, yep, that led us into Crisis Part 2, which was on
Mm.
Batwoman. We continue our quest to stop the Anti-Monitor. Um, what what we have revealed in this one is that the Monitor lets them know that there are 7 Paragons that can stop the Anti-Monitor.
Yeah, this starts to get a little hokey, but I'll take it.
Yeah, it becomes a yeah. It reminded me of Horcruxes and stuff like
Yeah,
that, didn't it?
it did. There's a
We gotta
lot,
find the
lot of Harry
Horcruxes in these.
Potter-ish in both the previous episode
Yeah,
and this one.
but not just like Harry Potter. It kind of went like Legend of Zelda, like get all the pieces to get the
Yeah, the
Triforce. To,
Triforce.
you know what I mean? Yeah, yeah. So if I remember the Paragons, we had the Paragon of Hope was Kara, Supergirl,
That makes sense.
and they were who was the you know what who were the Paragons? I should
Paragon
find
of
this.
Courage is the one that they have to find on Batwoman's universe, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
Batman.
Oh right, so yeah, the Paragon of Courage they thought was right Batman. Then they had the one they thought was another Superman. Which one was that? I forget.
That was that was a multiple one. They thought it was ultimately it
They
became
didn't know which
Brandon Roof's.
Superman.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it became Brandon Roof's version of the character. Although that gave us a lot of Easter eggs with Tom Welling and the Smallville.
yeah.
And this also ties into Lex's
Here we
own
go.
personal quest.
Here we go. Hang on, I got something here.
Yeah, and it may sound like we're all over the map on this particular
I
episode,
know. There's
That's
just a
only
lot going
because
on too.
there's a
Yeah,
lot happening in this episode, more so than the
yeah,
previous.
exactly. Yeah, give me a second here. I'm gonna look this
You
up.
looking for the paragons? So while
Yeah,
you do
I
that,
want the list. Hmm.
yeah. So let's talk about Batman. Kevin Conroy finally in the flesh.
Hmm.
It was funny because I was watching this
Yes.
with my son, and he finally realized. Well, for him, it was more like the guy who does the Batman video game voice. I was like, "Oh man, dude, it goes way beyond that." He's been doing Batman since the '90s. He goes, "How old is that guy?" I was like, "As old as he looks on the screen." You found the paragons.
Yeah, I did. Yes. Okay, so we had four revealed: Hope, Courage, Destiny, and Truth. And like I said, Kara was Hope, and they said one of the Batmans was Courage, and was Ray. No, Flash was Truth.
Love.
Love.
He
Okay,
was
so why
love.
did they not?
'Cause
Oh, they did reveal the seven. That's right. Afterwards. Man. Oh, here we go. Flash.
Sarah was the final one, I think, right?
Sarah was. Oh, jeez. Sorry, folks. I'm having a brain fart here right now. This site I'm looking at is terrible too.
Yeah, that's
Like it,
fine. So
like all this stuff.
the
Here we
Batwoman.
go. All right.
Oh, you found
Hang
it.
on. Paragon of Courage is Batman, or they thought, but it turned out to be Ruby. Turned out to be Batwoman,
Yeah,
right?
she was the final
Paragon of
one.
Hope
Yeah,
is Supergirl. The Paragon of Destiny
it's
is
Sarah.
Sarah. Yeah. The Paragon of Truth turned out to be is a Superman, which we didn't know which one was yet,
Correct.
right? Yeah.
So we got Hope.
And then we had the Paragon of Love is Barry, and the Paragon of Honor was
Oh, yeah, I
John
forgot. He's
Jones.
also a paragon. Yeah.
Yeah. And then our final Paragon of Humanity was some guy named Ryan
Oh,
Choi.
Ryan Choi, who was a character in Supernatural. For those of you who watch Supernatural as well, he was a prophet in the Supernatural
Ah.
show. That's how I automatically recognized him.
Oh,
I was like, oh my
okay.
god, if they cross over Supernatural with this, I'm done. But no,
Yeah, I read about that, but I wasn't sure where because I didn't watch. I don't watch Supernatural,
yeah,
right? So
they're in the final
I
season.
wasn't sure where the reference was.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but he wasn't.
Okay. So
Yeah,
let's
he wasn't a
get.
character. And then don't forget the Paragon of Confusion, which is us, the audience, trying to figure out what the hell is happening.
Yeah. Look at me trying to how confused I am just trying to find these paragons,
Yeah,
right?
I hope
But
Chris
let's go
edits that
back.
whole part out.
All right. Should we talk about the Paragon of Courage first, which the Batman, or should we
Yeah.
talk
Let's
about
go into the probably the
Superman?
biggest moment of well, you go against Smallville, but I think that's probably the biggest moment was Kevin Conroy Batman. You know, Batwoman and
Yes. For those who don't know, Kevin Conroy has been doing the voice of the animated Batman for close to 25 years, if not more. You might remember from the 90s, starting with the 90s Batman animated series that I used to watch every
mm-hmm,
day when I came home from school
mm-hmm.
because I loved that show. And this was, of course, on the back of the success of
Yep.
Tim Burton's '89 Batman, right? So you had the same kind of theme music and the same kind of characters. You had Harvey Dent, and you had Commissioner, and then you had oh my gosh, who was the other detective?
Bullock.
Yeah, Bullock. Yep. So you had basically all of those guys, and then we got to introduce all of our villains, Ivy and Freeze and Joker and Riddler and Penguin and all of those
Yeah,
guys.
a very monumental show
Um,
that actually pushed out a lot of these
yes.
superhero cartoons and animated features that we now have now on the
Mm-hmm.
regular. And for the younger audience, he's the one who does the voice of all the Dark Knight video games, the Arkham Asylum, Arkham Knight. That's how my son
Right.
recognized them, not through the animated movie, through the video games. So
Ah, there you go. There you go. Yeah. So once you hear him talking, you know you would recognize it, right? If you're a true fan, right, of Batman. And it was good to see him. He was in. He played the older Batman. He
a
was in a
mechanized suit,
basically um, an
exosuit.
exosuit to to keep him walking after his fight with who did he fight? Superman.
Superman. Yeah.
I guess Superman put him in the
Yeah,
suit,
which we don't
right?
know until
So we had
Kara
our own.
sees the Clark Kent glasses with like a bullet hole through it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So Kara takes a tour of the mansion with their version of Luke. Um, Luke, blah blah blah. Uh,
Lucas Fox.
yeah,
Fox.
Luke Fox. Yeah,
Yeah, gratuitous ab scene for no apparent reason. It's like, look, ladies, we have some eye candy for you.
yeah. But during the tour, we get to see that Batman's victories. He in this version of Batman, he happens to keep trophies of his kills, I guess.
Kills.
So he
Yeah.
had Joker's card, and then she sees the glasses of Superman, and it gets explained that yeah, they had their own Batman v Superman, and so Superman is dead, but you can see that Bruce was badly injured, which leads us to Supergirl realizing no, he's not the
Yeah.
paragon of courage, right? And they have to duke it out. But of course, the Bruce there whips out the kryptonite to try and stop her.
Right. Yep.
Yeah.
Always got a plan. No matter what universe you're in,
Yes.
Batman always has a
Yeah.
plan.
Exactly. And it winds up that our Batwoman has to take him out
Not before she steals that
so
kryptonite for
they
herself.
can escape.
You know, their whole mission to
That,
reanimate.
yeah.
And I was like, you just killed him off. You're already talking about bringing him back. Oh,
You never know, right?
yes, sir. Oh,
Yeah.
and then probably the biggest cameo I've seen. I'm just probably a little above Kevin Conroy and Tom Welling as Smallville Clark Kent.
Yeah. So his daughter and some of the Legends team, and that brings us to John Constantine being on the episode. Yes, our own Lucifer. For those who know the Lucifer series that was on, ABC for a while and moved to Netflix. Yeah, Tom Ellis. Yeah, and they have to go see Lucifer. They had to go see Lucifer to find out where Oliver's soul is. Right. So the hunt is on for his soul because after they let's go back a bit because they want to bring Oliver back to life, so they need to find a Lazarus pit. For our Arrow fans, they know what that is. So they actually find one in another universe, which is
Conveniently, there's only one. Out of all the multiverses, there's only one left.
right. So they dunk him in that nasty pool, which was disgusting. And they run into Jonah Hex, and Jonah. Why does Jonah try to stop them? I forget.
That part made no sense. That was an unnecessary cameo,
Yeah.
unnecessary plot that made absolutely no sense.
Well, he tries to stop them and he fails, and they throw Oliver in there, and he comes out and he comes out like Sarah did when she first came out of the pit, like without a soul, which leads them on the hunt for
Yes,
his
without a
soul
soul.
down in hell.
Yes,
And they've
purgatory.
yeah, is it purgatory or hell?
I thought it was purgatory.
Oh, purgatory. Yeah, you're right. And so they've only got a limited amount of time to go find him before they get stuck there themselves. Eventually, they do find him, but that leads us to our other cameo when they run into.
Okay, I would say not so much a cameo, but more of a major DC Easter egg.
Yeah, there you go.
So
That's what I call it.
Yeah,
Right?
the Spectre exists in this CW multiverse, and not only does he exist, he now has relinquished his powers to our own Oliver Queen.
Yeah, so I
Which
don't
is
know what's going to
amazing.
happen there. Yeah.
So it sounds like, I mean, our fear was, there's only like 2 real episodes left of Arrow after this crisis, and one of them just being like a backdoor spinoff. So it seems like they're gonna Oliver Queen's spirit's gonna live on, but not in the form of Oliver the Arrow. It'll be
Yeah.
more like the Spectre, and
Right.
he may probably have cameos in the other shows, throughout their life as the Spectre. Spectre, for those who don't know, is a very, very cosmic, supernatural being. On a level like the Watcher meets Galactus, I think, somewhere,
something like that. Yeah.
combination of the two. So it seems like it's not over for our guy Stephen Amell as far as the Arrow is concerned, but it is over for Oliver Queen the Arrow because his soul refuses to go back to the body. So that is
Yeah.
that ridiculous mission. Oh,
You know what we need? Because I want to go back to the Superman now, right?
yeah,
Lois and Clark's quest to find the
Paragon of
Paragon-
courage. Or
no,
strength.
of
Strength.
truth.
Truth.
Truth. Yeah,
Truth,
Paragon of Truth.
justice in the American way.
But you know what? You know what we need in between all of these. Remember the old Super Friends show, and every time they cut, they go, "Meanwhile, back at the Hall of Justice." We need that guy
We
right
need
here.
that, yeah, because that would have made sense. Because
Yeah.
it's hard to follow this episode with so many subplots
Mhm.
that are happening.
Meanwhile, at the Hall of Justice.
So yeah, the whole search for the Paragon of Truth leads us to. It also ties in to Lex's side mission of killing every single Superman. Now that he has a book of
Oh,
destiny.
yeah. So he is the he finds the Book of Destiny. Then he's going to every multiverse, killing Superman. Our Lois Earth 38's Lois and Clark head to one universe to try and find Superman, but they see on the screen that he had just been killed with an image straight out of
The
the
comic.
Death of Superman comic.
Yep.
Yeah, which I thought was pretty
Very
cool.
cool.
So they realize that's not the right one, and so they finally get to one, and it turns out that that universe is our old Smallville
Somebody
cast.
save me.
We run into Tom Welling and Erica Durance playing Lois again.
Still hot. Still
Um,
hot. Still got it.
Oh, yes, no doubt. No argument there. And we've got, in this one, though, Clark gives up his powers. I didn't see the end of Smallville. He doesn't
No,
do
he doesn't
that
do
in
that.
the
He
show.
doesn't do that. That's like
No.
a cutaway, I guess maybe 20 years later, and somehow he relinquishes power so he can become like a family man or a normal Earth man.
Yeah, so I was reading some behind the scenes stuff, and I read that Tom would only do the show if he didn't have to wear the suit.
That makes sense.
Yeah, the Superman outfit. So he didn't want to. So I guess that's why they wrote it this way.
Funny thing, he's
Like,
also on, if I remember correctly, on Lucifer as the lieutenant.
oh, was he?
Yeah. So
Oh,
he's on the
mm,
last season I watched. I'm probably 2 seasons behind. Yeah. So it's funny,
yeah.
but both him and Lucifer, the actor, signed on on this particular episode.
Ah, okay. Yeah, that was cool. And then we got our Lex showing up to try and kill him, and whipping out the kryptonite, and him looking at it and grabbing it and going, "Oh,
Nice.
kryptonite, nice." And it has no effect on him because as he explains to Luke, Lex, he gave up his powers for his family, basically.
So there's a little hint there of Lex's jealousy with Superman has been legendary. So despite the fact that he was to
Mm-hmm.
kill his arch nemesis at all costs, and that little speech of his, he was like, "You gave up all the power of a god for this." You could see the hatred and vitriol in him, knowing that even if he does kill this version of Superman, it's not going to quench his desire and jealousy of Superman. So of course he makes a wild swing, and
Exactly.
Tom Welling catches it and swings back like, "Yeah, dude, I'm still stronger than
Still
you. I don't need
stronger.
superpowers to punch you the hell out." That was nice.
Exactly. That was cool. And, I gotta say, I love John Cryer's Lex. I think it's the right amount of narcissism and darkness. You know what
Yeah,
I mean?
Kevin Smith, of course, bonkers and goes, "You're the best because of the actor. You're the best Ben Lex ever." I'm like,
Yeah, I don't
I
know
don't
about
know,
the
man.
best,
I
but
don't know, but the animated movie
yeah.
and Gene Hackman might have something to say.
Well, if we talk live action, I don't know about the best, but
Best
we'll have
Lex.
to do a separate
Yeah.
show just about like who's the best Joker and who's the best Lex one day, right? Yeah. So, but I think he's for this show, for this crisis. I think he's very
So this
good.
episode,
I'll say
this
that.
episode pushed us into the third episode, part three, which is the Flash's timeline or the Flash's typical.
Oh, but wait, but before we do that, so we forget. Oh, so Lois and Clark actually meet Smallville, and
Oh
then
yeah, that moment, the
they
fight. Oh
they realize it's not him, but Harbinger. No, that's when Lex sends them away, right? And then our whole thing happens,
yeah, and
but
then
they
they meet the
realize it's not
actual,
him.
yeah, the David Ruth's version of Superman from the movie. They
Yeah, Brandon
realized that,
Routh. Yeah,
yeah, Brandon. So they realized that this is the one because he went through great tragedy. He lost Lois, and he lost a lot of folks. Jimmy Olsen, everyone, just about. So
yeah. I
he
thought
kind
that
of
was sad when he
fulfilled.
was like, "Yeah, they gassed the building and killed Lex." Gassed it. No, it wasn't Lex.
Wasn't Lex. Wasn't Lex.
It was a guy from Gotham, wasn't it?
Yeah, I forget whom.
But basically, he was mad because they weren't reporting on him enough.
Yeah.
So he gassed everybody in the building. Wow.
Wow.
Yeah. So yeah, so we have our Brandon Routh Superman from Superman Returns, which was very cool.
And then Lex conveniently shows up and has basically he
Yeah,
sets them off to fight each other.
right. So Earth 38, Superman and Brandon Routh go at it, and luckily Brandon comes back to himself,
Yeah,
right?
I didn't like that moment because it felt like they were trying to retread Superman 3, I believe, when Superman goes to the
Hmm. Well, that's what. Remember, I mentioned. I mentioned the other day in this show. He says I've
yes,
done this once before. Had to
yes, he
fight
did.
myself once before, and then I remember I mentioned. Well, was that a callback to Superman 3, which was not supposed to exist after Superman
Yeah,
Returns was released? Remember they said this takes
yes,
place right after Superman
yeah.
2. So,
I think the writers screwed that
what
up.
what
The
was
writers
that
didn't
about?
think diehard geeks like us would be paying
Yeah,
attention to every single word and analyzing the shit out of it. Yeah, that was a missed fallacy on their end.
but it's fine, right. It was fine. Yeah,
Yeah, it was fun. It was fun.
whatever.
Then we get to probably the best episode of part three,
Meanwhile, at the Hall of Justice.
So
on the
far, yeah.
Flash. Yeah, on the
Yeah.
Flash. Definitely, that's I can't even say game changer. That just basically it rewrites everything we've known of the Arrowverse at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
Because Flash, this is a Flash timeline, so they realize there's got to be a way to not just halt the antimatter wave, but actually destroy it. Because Cisco and his genius as always find that it is a source on not only on their on their universe, but also in Star City. Very convenient, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if they can find a way to stop that source, they can actually stop the wave of antimatter from destroying them.
Yeah, at this point, we've got maybe 5 worlds left,
Yeah, like Seven
4 or
Worlds.
5, and
Yeah.
they're still one by one are getting destroyed to a point where Earth 1 is the only one left.
Yeah.
So they get to where Nash Wells found the antimonitor.
By the way, he was screaming to me, "Danger, danger, Will Robinson!" Like, I don't trust this dude. Maybe because of the actor, he does this like sinister kind of half smile, half look
Mm-hmm.
where you're not sure which
Yeah,
side he's playing on. Even if you know he's on
right,
anti-monitor, you think maybe he's trying to fight and help the good guys. You
right.
don't quite know his position on the chessboard. So while he's talking to the group, you're looking at them like, oh, why did they trust this dude? I wouldn't trust this dude at all.
Oh, I know exactly.
So they found a location where the source of the antimatter is emanating from, and it's this huge cosmic treadmill straight out of the comics
Yes,
with Flash from the 90s
yes.
running,
Our
getting the
old Barry Allen. Yeah.
ultimate workout.
Mm-hmm.
That dude, the ultimate workout,
That's
freaking gym
right.
member of the year. So obviously, our Flash, Barry feels like this is the moment to sacrifice. Flash disappears in crisis. He's got to take the helm and run the treadmill, reverse the treadmill, so they can stop the antimatter wave. And of course, Flash
Mm-hmm.
is like, no, no, we have a chance of not losing you. He's like, no, I gotta do. So Cisco breaches our 90s.
Cisco, who becomes Vibe
Yes.
again,
Oh
by the
yeah, I
way.
forgot about that. He didn't want his powers. He was
Yeah.
violated and given his
No.
powers back. Ooh, boo hoo! You got your powers
Mm-hmm.
back. So he breaches 90s Flash so that Barry can run.
Also, just a heads up. Remember, I had thought Barry had died on the last crossover. Do you remember? Because
No, him and Supergirl had died in what would have been the final outcome, but
no, no,
Arrow.
no. I mean Flash 90.
Oh,
Flash 90. Do you remember after Elseworlds, they cut to the Monitor, and Monitor said, "You guys failed. You're not worthy enough," and they all disappeared. I thought he had
no, he had
died.
actually opened up the book, and then the screen went to the credits, the opening credits.
Hmm.
So they didn't show whether he died or not.
Yeah, right. But I had thought he died. I thought he was dead. So it was good to see, like when he.
Gotcha. So it seems like when he opened
Yeah,
that book, he got teleported to that
right.
treadmill location.
So he's stuck on the treadmill. Barry knocks him off, and who comes onto the screen? It's our own Black Lightning.
Oh yeah, yeah. I was like, I haven't seen this
Yeah.
character since the season I stopped watching it, the first one.
Right. Yeah. You mean from the first 3 episodes I saw, and then I was like, no thanks.
I love Jefferson. What's his name? Jefferson Pierce. Very black name.
Yeah.
He comes in, and is like, "Who are you guys? You Jefferson? You are a prince."
Yeah. Where the hell am I? Yeah.
Because what about my daughter? What about my wife? They're all gone. I didn't quite understand what he was doing. He was shooting lightning or absorbing lightning. It was weird. Like, was he?
So when Flash 90 stopped, when he was knocked off the
Oh, there's a
treadmill,
failsafe. Yes.
yeah, so when the wave stopped, there was a failsafe of the device where it would overload and explode and take out that universe anyway. Oh no, it would take out every universe.
Every universe.
Yeah, its destruction would do that. So our Black Lightning had to keep shooting energy at it to stop it from exploding, right?
That's what he was doing. Okay.
Yeah. So then the plan was Barry, our Earth One Barry was going to hop back on the treadmill to keep it going forever until they could
So
stop
at
it.
this moment, we were all prepping ourselves for
Yeah.
the second major death on this show because we already seen Oliver die. We're like, oh, this is
Right.
it.
Yeah.
Flash is next. My son and I was like, oh
Mhm.
man, this is gonna be heartbreaking.
Yeah. But then our Flash 90 steps in and says, "No, son, let me do this," right? And hops on the treadmill.
This is where I realized, all right, this is where, despite the terrible CGI in some cases
Mhm.
and hokey jokey moment,
Yeah.
I was like, holy shit, he takes upon himself to do it as being the first Flash that we've ever seen
Yeah.
on these TV shows.
Right.
And then that callback to the original show,
Oh,
dude,
that
I
was
almost teared
awesome.
up.
So did
It
I.
hit
I
me.
was
It
like,
hit me
"Oh
hard.
man, yeah, got you right in the feels, right?"
I just had goosebumps
Mm-hmm.
going over that
Yeah.
episode.
So for those who are following, what happens is that when Flash 90 gets on the treadmill and realizes he's going to die, they cut to that they show him his memory of meeting his wife. I forget her name.
Too.
Yeah, but she was on the current Flash as well as the
Yes.
scientist woman, right?
Yes, she was. She
Yeah,
was.
so
But they cut it directly from that episode with the younger version
yeah,
of the
they took the
actor,
screen. Yeah, yep, they took the
which was
scene
great.
from when he first meets her. Yeah, exactly right. Yep.
Yeah.
And Amanda Pays as Christina, right?
Yeah. So it
So
seems like
that's her. Yeah.
90s Flash's sacrifice works. They're able to stop the antimatter, and then they're all kind of teleported back to the Wave Rider, right? So it seems like all is good at the
Yes.
moment. Pariah shows up, Harbinger shows up, and I didn't give Ray Palmer credit. I've never really given him credit, but he was one of the first ones to deduce, wait a minute, something just ain't quite right here in Kansas.
Yeah.
And he's right. This is exactly what the Anti-Monitor wanted. He wanted them all in the same spot.
Yeah.
He wanted Briar to be the witness of the tragedy as he's been predestined to be. And he finally shows up, which was very anticlimactic. His costume and design to me was like,
yeah, they get teleported to like what do they call it? Like the it's a junction point, right?
it's the nexus point or vanishing point. So before that, obviously you got to realize that the entire universe is being destroyed. So in a last ditch moment, when the Monitor is actually fighting the Anti-Monitor, with they're doing a little hand blast thing, very comic bookish. They realize only a handful of them will survive, and they have to do their best to get them out of that location because it's about to be destroyed to another point. So it seems like the Paragons are obviously the most important people to evacuate, and not necessarily some of the side characters like Iris and Cisco and etc. So the Anti-Monitor, in Thanos fashion, wins.
Yeah, and at this point, they do have the Paragon of Humanity, Ryan Choi. They went to his workplace to convince him. Iris went. Who did she bring? She brought Elongated Man.
Yes, he was there.
And who was the other one? With
it was
them?
his first crossover. Did somebody actually say that? This is
he
first
was
crossover.
Excited, and Frost said, "You have to excuse him.
First
it's
crossover.
His first crossover."
Nice. Oh, and they also got the Paragon of the human guy, Troy, Dr. Troy. He was there with them.
That's what I mean. Yeah, the Paragon of Humanity. Yeah. So they convince him because he didn't want to. He was like, so Ryan Choi was like, well, if the worlds are ending, I just want to be with my family, right? Why bother? So they basically had to convince him, no, you got to fight this so we can try and stop it, right?
Yeah.
And eventually he's convinced and goes with them. So that leads us to them stuck in the vanishing point and about to fight the Anti-Monitor, and that's where we leave off.
Well, not exactly, because another cliffhanger moment is in the form of our paragon of truth, who is Superman, the Brandon Roof version. For
Mm-hmm.
some reason, he starts to disintegrate,
Oh yes,
and
yes,
as he disintegrates, he turns
yep.
into the form of Lex, sneaky devil Lex. He's like his plan worked.
Yeah,
He replaced Superman as a paragon of truth through the damn Book of Destiny.
right. So I don't know how that's gonna work, but oh
Yeah,
well, we'll see, right?
and there we have it,
Yeah.
folks.
So we've got in the end, we've got Batwoman, Supergirl, Sarah, Lex, John Jones, Ryan Choi, and our current
Yeah.
Barry Allen.
By the way, we didn't even talk about this. I mean, the Legends guys have been the best. The fact that Leonard becomes the Wave Riders AI voice.
Yeah, the voice that was fantastic. I love that because you know why I really love that because Rory was the only one on the ship, and if there was anyone to use to be a pain in the ass to Rory, it
Yeah,
was
yeah.
Leonard,
Speaking
right?
of Rory,
Leonard
the fact that he was able to babysit baby Jonathan Kent, where no one else could get a baby to stop
was
crying.
yes, and reading his trashy novel
Yeah,
in order to keep him calm. And Ray was like,
he
"I don't think
loves
that's
it.
appropriate." Oh, he
I need
loves
a
it.
beer. He loves it. I need a beer.
Yeah. You had me at beer.
uh, so that's it, folks.
Oh, we also had we forgot to mention in the beginning we had our cameo of the Huntress, right?
Oh, we did.
At the
We
beginning of
did.
the
We did. We
episode.
did. One of
Yeah.
the universes again. So they kept showing us different universes getting destroyed.
So we had for those who don't know, we had in was it the 90s or early
Early
2000s, the
2000s, early
Birds of
2000s.
Prey DC show. Yeah. And we had Ashley Scott and Dina Meyer. Ashley Scott played Helena Kyle's Huntress, not the Arrow version of what's her name, the Italian girl, the mobster's daughter.
Can't remember.
Well, you know what I'm talking about. On Arrow's Huntress is the daughter of the mafia guy, right?
Yeah.
And then in this one is Helena Kyle is supposed to be the daughter of Batman and Catwoman. At least that's how they played it in this one. So she became the Huntress, and then Barbara Gordon is in the show. She's the daughter of James Gordon, commissioner, but she plays Oracle, who's like basically the woman behind the screens, right? Because she's in a wheelchair.
Mm-hmm.
So they had her do a voiceover for the cameo, and then they had Huntress running on the rooftops trying to outrun the wave or try and stop the wave somehow, but
Yeah.
didn't happen. But that was cool. It was nice to see that cameo because I actually did watch that show. I thought it was cool. And FYI, for those who don't know, the girl who played the woman who plays Alice on the Batman series was also in that show.
Oh, she was. Oh,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
that's interesting.
Rachel Scarston she played Dinah Lance, Black Canary, on the original show.
See, these cameos to me, I found them fantastic for a lot of reasons. Like the cameo with Lucifer. We talked about Birds of Prey, but if you go to the other one, like Lucifer, you're acknowledging the fact that not only does his universe exist, but there's also the God, devil, and angels in that universe.
Mm-hmm.
So if there exists in that universe, can it not exist in this universe? The main, Earth Prime, Earth 1, whatever, Earth 38.
Yeah.
Like this is like DC really going full, balls to the wall here, and saying every one of our properties, with the exception of the DCFU, somewhat exists. You know what would have been hilarious? My son mentioned this. If they had done the Lego Batman getting wiped out, I was like, interesting. That would have been something. If they showed Lego Batman getting wiped out by the antimatter wave, that would have been interesting. But these cameos of these different characters from their DC IP property and stuff was it opens a lot, man. This is just brilliant. Guys, some of us may not like the CW Arrowverse because of the CGI and the hokiness of some of the characters in the show.
The complaints I see online are about, oh, it's so low budget. I mean, it's a TV show, right?
Low budget. This is not my Superman. Why is Batwoman? Why is Supergirl so much more powerful than? I'm like, I get it. Some people are not gonna like it, and never gonna like it no matter what.
Right.
But understand that what they're doing with their characters in the show is showing that, listen, we have some creativity. We want to showcase it and give us, the chance to try to entertain you. Again,
Exactly.
see, entertainment, the name of the company. They're here to entertain us. They're not here to just send a
Yeah.
message or give you your version of what you want.
No, it's not, and it's not like they have. Like I said, they don't have the DCFU's budget, right? So if they had the
Yeah, they're
budget,
they're
of
doing what
course.
Marvel did in the
Yeah.
mid 2000s, but all they had was like the B list characters. They couldn't use their A
Yeah.
list.
Yeah. Yeah. They weren't. So the CW wasn't allowed to even mention Superman and Batman in the first couple seasons. They
Yeah.
only had. They were
Um,
given a list of characters they could use, and they said, "That's it. You can't talk about our A properties." You know.
yeah. Like how many folks knew Constantine besides the Keanu Reeves Keanu Reeves movie?
Yeah, I don't
No
think
one.
too many. I can probably guarantee that most of those people didn't realize that was based on a DC comic. You know, they thought, oh, it's
Yeah,
just a Keanu Reeves movie about you know, a demon fighter. You know what I mean?
correct.
Yeah,
Props to CW and DC TV.
yeah,
I hat nod and
absolutely.
respect for what you're able to put together just these first 3 episodes, and I hope the next two stay the course and bring us some continued entertainment.
Yes, and so that leads us. In January, we start off, I believe, with Arrow.
Yes.
We'll give you
Yeah.
the exact date here in a second. Here we go. Yep, 14th of January, we got Crisis Part 4. And then Legends. Actually, I don't know if Legends is the same day. Let's take a look.
No, I think it's supposed to be the next day, and I'm not sure if it's Legends season premiere or before the season
It is
premiere. It is
actually.
season
They
premiere.
go right. It is the season premiere. They go right into it. And yeah, so Crisis leads off the episode on the same day, 14 January.
Back to back.
So yeah,
Back to
back to
back.
back. So we get a 2 hour. Yeah, that would
Yeah.
be interesting. That would be very interesting there. All right. So that's where we are with Crisis, folks. I hope you enjoyed it as much as we did.
Yeah, I did, and I hope. My hope is somehow that all the shows that are left afterwards kind of take some of the good moments from this and kind of collate that into their shows. Meaning Supergirl, which has been a not so good season.
Mm-hmm.
Flash has been very inconsistent, so I hope from this Crisis they get some level of consistency and bring some of the strong moments from the characters in this Crisis and continue to develop that on their show. And we know Legends is going to hit. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, I'm not worried about Legends. I'm fine with Legends.
Any predictions? Any hopes for at the end of Crisis?
I kind of hope that they somehow, this is tough, they merge these
Mm,
universes. And I know they
yeah,
can't because you still have Black Lightning that's out there. You still have, other IPs that they're just not going to have. I didn't realize Black Lightning is filmed in Atlanta while all the other ones are in your neck of the woods.
in Canada. Yeah.
Yeah, so I
Mm-hmm.
don't think they'll ever do that show per se, but I think it'd be nice to have a consolidated universe where you've got Supergirl, Batwoman, Flash,
Yeah.
and the Arrowverse. Arrow.
Basically, we'll get our own Justice League there, right? So
Yeah, yeah,
that would be nice. Yeah, I'm hoping the same thing, that it's finally merged into one instead of, oh, we've got to open a portal to go talk to Supergirl. You know,
yeah. I mean, you asked for predictions. I
instead of.
really don't know, like how are they gonna wrap this up? I don't know. That's the good part.
Mm-hmm.
I know what I like to see, but I don't know, and that's a good thing. That's a good thing.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm just hoping that a lot of the characters that were killed by the wave, somehow we can bring some of them back, right?
Yeah, unsnap like
Like,
Endgame.
yeah. Well, I mean, definitely, like from the looks of it, Iris is dead now, and Cisco, and all of them, right? So somehow,
Everyone is dead except for 7 people. Yes,
yeah, exactly. So we got to do this. Got to be some way we bring them back.
no matter what.
Yeah, whatever it takes. As long
Oh,
as they don't ask what it costs. They
yeah.
don't ask what was the cost at the end, right?
If we have one shot, we do it for the ones that are
Yeah,
not here.
that's
Fuck.
right.
All right.
Alrighty, folks. With that, we will bid you adieu and see you back for the end of Crisis. We'll do another show, right?
That was my take on the on
Alrighty.
the Justice League cartoon. Terrible.
Yeah.
Sorry. Sorry. I
All right,
apologize.
James. Thanks as usual. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Thanks for joining, and we'll catch you on the flip side.
Yep.